Welcome to Royal Daily Report, your trusted source for royal news and updates. I'm your host, bringing you the stories that matter. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update from Royal Daily Report. When someone goes from being absolutely necessary to being completely invisible, it's not because they stopped being important. It's usually because they know too much. Every modern fairy tale has a moment where everything changes. For Meghan Markle, that moment came in 2016. The official story says Prince Harry was looking to meet someone outside his normal group of friends. And when the time came, he didn't turn to family or palace helpers. He turned to Markus Anderson. The introduction didn't happen by luck. It wasn't a public event or a random meeting. It happened privately inside Soho House, a place Markus controlled. He wasn't just there. He arranged the meeting, managed the early contact, and stayed involved as the relationship quietly grew. That matters because when someone introduces to people at that level, they don't just set up a meeting, they shape the story. They provide background. They create first impressions. So, the question isn't just who introduced Harry and Meghan. The real question is, what version of Meghan was introduced and what parts of her past may have been left out? Don't forget to subscribe to Royal Daily Report for more exclusive coverage. Fast forward to December 2025. Meghan is launching a lifestyle brand built entirely on her personal truth, her journey, her values, her authenticity. This is the moment where trusted voices from her past should appear. This is where trust is strengthened. Yet Markus Anderson is completely absent. No interviews, no appearances, no acknowledgement. This isn't accidental. Sources say he won't appear in future projects either. And that timing is impossible to ignore. His disappearance doesn't happen during quiet years. It happens at the exact moment Meghan's story is being sold at its highest value. Silence like that isn't passive. It's a choice. Either Markus refused to participate in telling a version of events he no longer believed in, or his presence raised questions the brand couldn't afford to answer. When a story depends on authenticity, the people who helped build it are either showcased or removed. Stay tuned to Royal Daily Report. We bring you the truth. This is where the story changes scale. Years before Meghan met Harry, long before the public story begins, there is a documented claim that changes the timeline entirely. In 2001, a photograph surfaces from a yacht in Phuket, Thailand. In that image is a man believed to be Markus Anderson. Standing with him is Prince Andrew. The year matters. 2001 is 15 years before Meghan is said to have met any member of the royal family. This image doesn't prove relationships. It doesn't make accusations. But it does establish something undeniable. Markus Anderson had closeness to senior royals far earlier than anyone was told. Which raises a new question, one that can't be brushed aside. If Markus was already moving in elite royal-adjacent circles at the start of the 2000s, then the world Meghan later entered may not have been as new to her as the story suggests. And once that possibility exists, the timeline can no longer stand on its own. Before global fame, before royal headlines, Meghan Markle was a working actress trying to break through. Her resume in the mid-2000s shows modest roles and limited income. And yet, during that same period, she appears in environments that don't match that financial reality. Exclusive European destinations, private yachts, elite social settings, usually reserved for the ultra-wealthy. This chapter isn't about judgment. It's about contrast. Those worlds don't open themselves. Access like that requires an invitation, a connection, someone trusted on the inside. And by that point in time, Markus Anderson was already embedded in elite networking spaces where introductions weren't casual. They were curated. So, the question isn't whether Meghan was ambitious. It's who helped her move through doors that were otherwise closed. Remember to subscribe to Royal Daily Report for updates like this. Now, place everything side by side. Markus Anderson is documented in elite circles by 2001. Meghan begins appearing in similar environments years later. In 2016, Markus formally introduces her to Prince Harry. These are separate facts, but together they create overlap that can't be ignored. The official story says Meghan's connection to royalty begins with Harry, but the timeline suggests her closeness to elite power structures began much earlier, with the same man acting as the common thread throughout. No speculation is needed here. No accusations are made. This is simply what happens when timelines are aligned instead of isolated. When viewed as a whole, the rise no longer looks sudden. It looks structured. Markus Anderson built his career on silence. That silence made him valuable. It protected powerful people. It kept doors open, but silence only holds when loyalty goes both ways. Anderson's background remains unusually unclear. His rapid rise, his early access, his long-standing closeness to people far more powerful than his public resume would suggest. These aren't conclusions. They're unanswered questions, and now, the person who once stood closest to Meghan's private journey has been removed from her public story entirely. That creates pressure. Because when someone who knows the full version of events is erased, the truth doesn't disappear. It waits, and the longer it waits, the heavier it becomes. Royal Daily Report, bringing you the stories others won't tell. Markus Anderson has never told his story. He facilitated connections. He guarded privacy. He stayed behind the curtain while others stepped into the spotlight. That discretion built his career and protected the people he helped. But now the story being sold to the world no longer includes him. And that's the moment everything changes. Because when the architect of access is written out, the structure begins to shake. Silence stops being loyalty and starts becoming a burden. And the most dangerous phase of any carefully managed narrative is the one where the person who knows the truth realizes they have nothing left to protect. Whether Markus Anderson ever speaks publicly is still unknown, but his absence is no longer quiet. His silence is no longer invisible. And the questions surrounding how Meghan Markle truly rose from actress to duchess aren't fading. They're waiting for the one person who saw it all to decide that his version of the story finally matters. People don't usually erase the most important witness to their life story, especially when they're trying to convince the world that story is real. And when the person who knows the most suddenly disappears, the silence itself becomes the mystery. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report and stay informed. Markus wasn't famous. He didn't seek attention. His power came from something far more valuable: access. He worked at Soho House, a private members club known for bringing together powerful people behind closed doors. Actors, billionaires, royalty industry leaders, all in spaces designed to feel invisible to the outside world. Markus rose through that world quietly from an entry-level position to becoming a global membership director. He became someone who didn't just attend rooms like that. He decided who entered them. That role requires trust, discretion, silence. If someone met the right person at the right time, Markus was often the invisible hand that made it happen, not by accident, by design. So when Meghan entered this world, she didn't stumble into it. She was guided, and Markus wasn't just nearby. He was central. He understood how elite networks worked, how introductions were made, and how careers quietly changed direction without ever making headlines. That's why removing him from the story isn't neutral. It removes the blueprint. This wasn't a loose friendship. Meghan's own words made that clear. In 2016, she publicly described Markus as loving, supportive, endlessly fun, someone she couldn't imagine life without. That kind of language isn't used lightly. It signals dependence, trust, emotional closeness. And her actions match the words. Markus was present at nearly every major milestone. He helped organize private events. He attended her wedding. He planned celebrations. He showed up consistently, even when the spotlight was elsewhere. This wasn't someone drifting in and out of her life. This was someone woven into it, which makes his sudden disappearance even more striking. People don't just walk away from relationships like that without a reason. And they're rarely pushed out unless their presence creates discomfort. That's all for today's report from Royal Daily Report. We've brought you the facts, the connections, and the questions that others might ignore. If you found this information valuable, make sure you're subscribed to Royal Daily Report. Hit that like button, share this video with others who need to know the truth, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next report. This is Royal Daily Report, bringing you royal news that matters. Until next time, stay informed and stay curious.